go. There you go.
What's up, brother?
What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. I thank you very much for giving me about 30 minutes of your time. I know you're a busy man, so just wanted to show some love to you and even get the word out more about what you're doing, so people can know how to stay connected and support your movement. So I thank you.
Hey, I appreciate you for inviting me, man. Wait a minute, are you guys okay out there? I heard it was a little shaky.
Hey, man, yeah, we good. I was like, that's the third earthquake that I felt since living here. The other ones that happened, you sleep right through them. But last night I'm laying down with my wife. All of a sudden I felt the shake. The bed was I was like, dang, what's going on? I look up. I was like, oh, man, we having an earthquake. My son just like, Dad, we having an earthquake. He went right back to sleep. I'm like, man, it's just the norm. I guess we kind of like really Californians now because it's not really.
Yeah, that makes it official.
Yeah, you just kind of like, oh, it's an earthquake. You go back to sleep.
Hey, let me tell you, I've experienced 2 earthquakes in my life.
Yeah.
And they both happened right here in Cleveland.
Tell the truth. See, people don't listen to me. I told them Cleveland can get them. They don't feel good.
it felt weird. The first one, I was in the library and I thought my chair was falling or something. It kind of shook my chair.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I was at the plane dealer. I was in the office.
Yes.
And everybody looked at each other. We thought a truck had went down the street. And then, you went on a computer and it said an earthquake. So actually, there was 3. The third one I didn't feel, but my wife did. I was doing rehab when I messed up my knee. Uh-huh. And she said, yeah, it was an earthquake. So yeah, Cleveland gets them, man, among other things.
A long time ago, right out of college, I worked in insurance in Cleveland, and we had to analyze a lot of stuff about the area and stuff. And Cleveland is situated on a fault line that runs all the way through St. Louis, through the middle of the country. A lot of people don't know that. They like, oh, it's just California. I was like, man, anywhere you got land, it can shake. it can shake.
Right.
There are fault lines everywhere. Some are just more active than others.
Yes, they absolutely are, man.
Yeah, man. So it's funny, man. But what I'm gonna do a quick intro for the audience. A little station identification. As I said, this will be on my podcast, which is on Apple, Spotify, Google, Castbox. It's in 9 countries now. So I'm grateful that
nice.
Yeah, we got subscribers in 9 countries, and thankful that it's growing. So I love it. It's just another part of what I do out here. I love it. So
you can hit me to Instagram. I don't know a whole lot about it. Is there any way that I could connect it to my viewers?
Yes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tag you after we're done. But then I'm going to email you a copy of the full video.
Okay.
To WeTransfer. So you can have it and you can upload it. You can do whatever you want to do with it.
Nice.
So,
nice.
So I add a little background music to make it kind of cool, like we sitting there, drinking a little lemonade or something, talking,
or a little water.
There you go, a little water. I got my little refresher this morning.
There you go.
So I try to do that, but I'll get that to you. You'll probably get it by tonight, no later than tomorrow morning. Email through WeTransfer.
Okay, perfect.
And make sure all my guests have everything they need to promote it however you want to.
Okay, thanks, bro.
You're welcome, man. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching, for listening to RDC Speak Life Sessions. My name is Rodney. I'm the host and creator of the show. Make sure you like and rate the podcast on Apple. Make sure you follow on Spotify, connect with it on Google, Castbox, Anchor, and many other platforms. I'm excited, and I want to welcome the 9 countries that have joined our movement here, and we're looking for the rest of you guys. You know what? It's 100 or so, 200 or so, however many countries. Come join the movement. Today, I am excited. I'm talking to one of my homies, y'all, from Cleveland. He is an award-winning director and producer. One of his most recent projects is on HBO right now, The Women of Troy. You guys got to check it out. You have to check it out. And without further ado, let me introduce and welcome my special guest, Cleveland's own Branson Wright. Yeah.
Thanks for having me. All
right, man. So, glad to have you in the house, man. So just thank you very much for being a part of it. And I want to just talk real quick, man. Like, share with us, your journey into journalism and production. Just kind of paint, give us a flyover. I know you can't get real deep, but fly over about 10,000 feet.
Oh, I might want to get deep.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, well, it's only a half-hour show, so you're right. But
we can run it longer. I got Instagram gives me an hour, so it's up
okay.
to you.
Okay, all right. Let me get real comfortable. Get stuff going here. So, man, for me, it's funny. It started in the third grade, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I for those too young, there was something called Hot Wheels. And we used to race Hot Wheels before school, lunchtime, and after school.
Yeah.
So we write these. We would race these cars, and and I'm like, man, we should start keeping stats for this. Who's winning the most races, and which I felt I was winning the most races. So I started compiling, who came in first most of the time. And then I took some construction paper in school and called it Raceaway News. Oh. And I couldn't draw, but I had kind of a sketch on the cover, but most of the information was inside. Mm-hmm. So one of my classmates, he said, man, if you keep this up, you'll be a reporter one day. And so it just sort of stuck with me. So all through school, I played sports and did things like that. But I would always say when I retire, I'm going to be a sports writer. So I kept, in high school, I worked for the school paper, in college, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a sports writer. In fact, I took typing back when they taught typing in school. I took typing because I knew to be a sports writer, you need to be able to type, now computers. Yeah. So I always prepared myself to become a sports writer. And so, went to college, took me a year to get my first job, mm-hmm. and which was in Lexington, North Carolina. Oh, wow. And I covered Winston-Salem State, and there was a guard for Winston-Salem State by the name of Stephen A. Smith. Yeah. I knew exactly what you were going to say. But back there it was Steve Smith. We called him. And so I spent a couple years in Winston-Salem. Worked in Michigan, Grand Rapids. Actually worked in Lima, Ohio for a year. Oh wow! Then Grand Rapids, Michigan. Covered Floyd Mayweather as an amateur there until he turned pro, and then in 2000 got an opportunity to come to Cleveland, mm-hmm. to work for the Plain Dealer, and up until April of this year, I worked at the Plain Dealer for 20 years. Wow. All from a third grade kind of just feeling, knowing like you were kind of operating in your gift as a third grader. Yeah, and power of suggestion. Yes. It's so. Yes. I tell so many people that because a lot of people ask me, it's like, how did you know you want to act? And I was like, man, this is something I wanted to do as a child. I just had to wait for the right time in my life to do it. But most of the times people know what they want to do if they reflect back to their childhood years, things that they were very interested in, but life happens, Yes, it does. Life happens. And then before you know it, you forget. So I believe God puts that in us. He like trying to stir it up. So I tell a lot of parents, be mindful of your children, how they are acting, because oftentimes they're letting you know what they want to do in life. And when you pay attention to that, you can help guide them in the right direction, help them avoid some pitfalls. So I just had to just jump on that as soon as you said third grade. Yeah. Yeah. So if kids out there beating people up, he may want to be a boxer. If my mom always told me stop acting up, but I didn't become an actor, so I didn't listen. I didn't listen to it. So. Hey, but that's how it is, though. You listen to it, and like I tell people all the time, and I'm just glad that you shared that. Now, during this journey, was one of your defining moments in covering, Stephen A. or Mayweather? What would you say was your defining moment in these 20, 25 years or so? Wow, that's a great question. Well, I think one of the defining moments is getting started. Period. When I graduated from the University of Cincinnati, I couldn't find a job for an entire year.
Uh-huh.
So started doubting myself and what am I going to do? I had a girlfriend at the time who was pressuring me like, man, did this guy want to work? He's just some bum. So I at the time I became an extra in a movie, and raging. Is my phone acting up?
No, that's me moving around, maybe.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm animated, man. It's like I'm animated.
That's fine. That's fine. I was an extra in A Rage in Harlem with Forrest Whitaker, Robin Givens, and who else was in there? Forrest Whitaker, Robin Givens.
Coles Bay?
Yeah, and somebody else I'm missing. Gregory Hines. The late great Gregory Hines was in it. And so during this time, I was going through the process to the police academy to become a police officer. I was going through all the tests, until they get down to the certain number they wanted. So for you to attend the academy. Mm-hmm. So, but I didn't want to be a cop, but I needed a job. I needed to do something. Mm-hmm. So there was an actor on a set by the name of Ron Taylor. Mm-hmm. If you Ron been in quite a few movies. He's no longer with us.
Okay.
And Ron, we became friends, and I told him what was troubling. I said, man, I don't want to be a police officer. I want to be a writer.
Yeah.
But I need to work. And he said, look, I always wanted to be an actor. And he said at the time, he spent 5 years in the American Football League.
Okay.
And he played in Houston. And so he said one day he just decided to retire after 5 years. And in 1970, he took a Greyhound bus from Houston to New York.
Okay.
And he said every day he was hitting the pavement to reach his goal.
Yes.
And he said in a year later, he was in the Wiz making $1,500 a week in 1971, which is a lot of money now. Yeah, that's a lot of money now, so really back then. But his point was, he said every day you have to do something to reach your goal. You got to make phone calls, in your field, auditions, phone calls, making contacts. And for me, he was making phone calls, sending out letters to different people, trying to get interviews and just making all contacts. And every day you miss a day, you miss the day. So try not to miss a day. So that was so encouraging to me. So I remember going down to the academy telling them I wasn't going to become an officer. And the lieutenant was like, well, gee, we wondered why you were doing this. All of our interviews and your background check, everyone says you're a writer. So they couldn't understand. And he said, look, good luck. And if it doesn't work out, we're still here. And that just gave me such a relief, that he felt that way. And then the fact that Ron gave me some good advice supporting me. And then 2 months later, I got my first job. And and I always say, if someone asks me for advice, I just really just tell them what Ron Taylor told me about every day. You have to do something toward your goal, just every single day, and until you reach it. And that was good advice and something that definitely worked for me.
Branson, man, that just I got chills all over me because it's so powerful. Because I get it. You were like, hey, I need a job. I've been out of college a year. I want to bring some income in. You was willing to do whatever until you could get to where you need to go. But your gift was so strong that even the police was like, man, we know what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
We know what he's supposed to be going. But you also listen very closely to people who are talking to you. You were present. I tell people all the time, present is the most important thing we can be. Whether it's you're having a conversation with your spouse, your kids, whoever, you never know what moment you're missing by not just being right in that moment. And you were listening. And that's what helped change your life. Develop this philosophy that basically basically is giving you a wonderful career. And you're award-winning producer, director, you're sports journalist. I'm just gonna say journalist extraordinaire. You kill it. Hello from the Netherlands and from Egypt. I forgot Egypt said what's up too. From Egypt, we got people from all over saying what's up to us. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, is that Egyptian lover?
Hey, you can come on in too.
Oh yes, come on in.
So that leads me to working on the set. Was that one of the moments that made you think about, hey, not only do I want to write, cover like sports and stuff, but I want to actually put it on film also. Well, we were working.
Well, what happened? Well, first of all, even go back further. I graduated from Performing Arts High School in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And so I guess it was always sort of in me. Although, it's funny. I never auditioned for a play in high school, and you could major. And what I did, I majored in media and creative writing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never really had a desire to be on stage, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But what really sparked it, making that transition from writing to going into film, is there was a story that I wanted to write.
Yeah.
About a guy who just recently passed, and he was such a good athlete. And when people talked about him, it was very descriptive.
Mm.
And as a writer, you try to be as descriptive as you can, but I didn't think it lent itself to describe how great he was.
Mm.
So I wanted to put it on film. And at the time, I knew nothing about shooting, editing, not anything. But as a storyteller, I knew how to tell a story. So I contacted some friends who were in that field, and I said, look, I want to do a story on this guy. His name is Dwight Anderson,
mm-hmm.
and just want you to help me along. I don't have any money, so
Yeah.
I can buy you lunch, or we can do what we can to get this done. So after 8 years of getting this project done,
yes, it
just really sparked my other interests for the film industry. And one thing I always have, and even as a writer, I always prided myself in having story ideas.
Yes.
So that's something that I still develop. And so the Blur, which was my first project,
yes,
it really sparked some future things, or the current things that I'm doing now.
Oh man, I love to hear that, man, and just how this whole thing came together. And I tell people, when you're looking to do something, especially in our industry, because I look at it as if we're still in the same industry. We're in the field of broadcast, entertainment. We're very in front of the media. We're in the media, and you can't be afraid, even if you don't have the money. I produced my first film last year as a short, and I was like, man, I don't really have a whole lot of money, but I found ways to make it happen. I found out I knew friends. I found resources and relationships that allowed it to come to pass, and that's what you did. And when there's a will, there's a way. There really is a way, and that's why I really want to encourage people not to just be like, they have to come in our fields of work. But if you want to run a business, whatever, if you really want to do that, there's a way to do it. Quit using an excuse of, I'm stuck in this 9 to 5. No, there's a way to make it happen. So I try to encourage people like that. So now the Blur, man, that I remember that, and that was your first one, and that was on ESPN, right?
No, it never made ESPN. It was a film festival. Made the film festival circuit. But the one you're talking about, that made it was Believe Land.
Yeah.
That was I was co-producer for Believe Land. That was on ESPN, and how all that came about. As I was saying about hitting the pavement and doing everything you can to get whatever field you in.
Yeah.
But it was also some advice a friend gave me years ago, is you never know who's watching. Whatever you're doing, you never know who's watching.
Yes.
So for me, I wrote an article about it was the 45-year anniversary of the Ali Summit, when Jim Brown, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, some of the top black athletes at the time, came here to Cleveland to show their support for Ali being a conscientious objector to the Vietnam War. So I spent a lot of time working this story, and I had a lot of information that a lot of people didn't know.
Yes.
I talked to Jabbar, I talked to Jim Brown, I talked to a lot of people associated with it, and a filmmaker read my story and gave me a call and said, he hadn't seen a comprehensive story like that on that meeting, and he wanted to do a film, and he wanted to get in touch with some of the people I interviewed. Now, I'm listening to this guy on the phone like, I don't know you from Adam, and you want my contacts? You know what? But then a voice told me, I know who it was. I know it was the Lord telling me, give him the information. So I gave him the information. We developed a relationship. In fact, because of him, that's how I was able to finish The Blur.
Yes.
Because of one of his contacts, a young film editor who loved basketball, and cheaply he was able to finish it for me.
Yeah.
So we developed that relationship, and so when he started doing Believe Land, he called me and asked me to help, and then brought me in as a co-producer, and which leads into Women of Troy. Women of Troy is an idea I had for years. I had called Cheryl Miller in 2008.
Wow.
And
wait, time out. I got a quick 20 seconds on the phone.
Okay.
You can say it like it's just like, hey, I just called Cheryl Miller. I'm sitting there like, dang, you got all these people to phone this way. Hey, Cheryl Branson,
Okay. All right, let's back up. The reason why I just called her, because when I covered the Cavs, Cheryl Miller was a sideline reporter for TNT. So we were able to develop a relationship that way. So that's how we met.
I was just saying that's beautiful, because you have these wonderful contacts. Man. I'm talking that's favor, man. So I was celebrating. I was like, this man just said, "Hey, I just called Cheryl." I'm like, that's like,
thank you.
That's cool.
So I said to Cheryl, I said, I don't know how I'll get this done. I said, but I just want your permission to pursue to do a documentary on you and your team. Wow. And she said, sure, no problem. So, through the years, trying to get this done, made a pitch to several networks, will remain nameless.
Yeah.
That one turned it down and said nobody cares about women's sports. Another one turned it down because of they didn't think it was within their budget. Another one, which you being in Hollywood, this one, where they were like, yeah, this is great, let's do it. Then they stopped answering their phone. So I'm like, okay. So few months after that happened, then that's when HBO stepped in and said that they wanted to do the project. And just after all those years, man, of just dreaming of doing this project, on Women of Troy, and to finally get through it and get it done, man, it was, dude, I was just so happy. That you see something you work all those years for. 12 years when I called Cheryl 12 years ago, and then it took that long for it to hit the screen. So yeah, I'm real proud of that. Basically, sticking it through.
I gotta applaud you, man, because Debbie Allen, the movie Amistad. She said it took her 20 years to make this movie, and this is Debbie Allen now, fame, doing the years of fame when she was way up. She's still way up there, but back then she's trying to produce her own film, and she said it took her 20 years to do Amistad.
Wow!
To get the funding, to get the support rally, everything. So
wow,
this is what people don't see behind the veil, man. They don't see you in the lab trying to put the chemistry together. I love it.
Right. yeah, you got to be able to stick through it, man. It's yeah, it can be something. I
Yeah.
mean, it's I mean, of course, we don't want things to take that long, but it's almost once you get in there, you know, I compare it to like being in the ocean, and
Yes.
you know, and you're pedaling and pedaling, and you look back like, dang, look how far I've come, and you don't really see any land there, and you're like, no need to go back. It's so far going back. We might as well just keep going. You know, just let's just keep going.
Yes.
So, you know, that's how I compare it to. Just keep going. Just don't stop. I mean, the biggest thing is you don't want to regret
No.
and look back 10 years from now and say, man, if I would have kept going, we would have been done by now. You know, if I would have kept going, you know, so yeah, just keep pushing, man. Just
Man,
keep pushing.
the way you live in your life is how I tell people is that you don't want to make the cemetery rich with the dreams and visions God gave you for your life.
I like that.
I'm not going to be a contributor. I'm not making a deposit there. Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, he's a motivational speaker, probably top in the world. I remember this is probably about 5 years ago. He was giving a speech, and all he kept saying at the end was "Leave on E, leave on E." You know how he sounds to get all past.
Right.
And he was like, "Leave on empty, leave this world empty." And I kept saying, "That's what I want to do. I want to be completely empty of all this stuff God has put in me. I don't want to be lying." Denzel was giving a speech at a college years ago, and he was like, "You don't want to be that guy laying on the deathbed, and you know, and come the ghost of your dreams and visions come to you, and they say, we came to you in this life, but you chose not to make us happen. Now we all have to go to the grave with you." Now, you know, you and I both know there's much more after death, but in this life that we have here, I want to be empty. And this stuff is in me. That's why this journey I'm doing, I love it. I love it, man. I just want to be completely empty. And that's why I have people like you on my show, because it inspires people. You'll be amazed how many people, after they listen to this interview and watch it, I get messages all the time like, yo, I appreciate that, because there's certain things I want to do that I've always been scared. And it's like, life's too short to be scared.
Yeah, way too short. And, you know, and that's why, you know, growing up and even to this day, I love reading biographies, because no matter how, you know, whatever way we measure success, no matter how successful someone is, they've always had some kind of struggle.
Yes.
I mean, something. I mean, nothing was easy. I mean, if they, you know, hit the lotto or something, you know, maybe, but most people, you know, going after their passion,
yeah,
you know, there's been some type of struggle.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you know, to me, it's just part of life, and it just really makes you appreciate it more. I mean, not to say that we don't get frustrated, that, you know, we don't get disappointed.
Yeah.
And I mean, it happens, but we also know that, you know, we will see the fruits of our labor. And if, you know, I mean, it'll happen in some way.
Yes.
May not be exactly how we thought it, but it'll happen.
You know what? Did you watch TNT the other night when they were talking, when Draymond was on there?
No.
Okay.
Didn't see that.
Well, they had asked Draymond as far as the championships that he's won. Mm-hmm. And Barkley was asking him which one was the most memorable and meant the most to him. And he went right to the first one, because he talked about how they had to struggle and fight to get there. They didn't know what it was going to look like in the end. Once they got KD, we all knew they were going to win the championship.
Right.
You know, it was pretty much a given. Unless somebody got a major injury, they was going to win.
Right,
but
exactly.
That first year, he was like, we didn't know. And that made it so much sweeter. And that's what makes this journey so much sweeter, is when, yeah, it's hard. But I'm listening to you, and I got chills all over the place. You making me just want to run and just do some stuff right after I'm done. You make me just want to write some more stuff. Like production out here is picking up. Thank God. I'm excited.
Yes,
and I've had some really nice auditions this week. So I'm looking forward to, I keep telling everybody before the year's over, you go look up and I'm going to be on network TV now. So, and I believe, I'm a firm believer that a man thinketh, so is he. And so I speak life constantly over what God has given me to do. I ain't saying nothing negative. I've watched what God has done in the 4 or 5 years that we've been living in LA, and people are just blown away by it, just blown away. So sorry about that. People are just blown away. So good grief. Sorry about that, Branson.
No, it's all right. It didn't even move on my end. You good?
Okay. So boom. Had to get something off there. Oh, have to get that off here too. I'm like, what? Okay,
it's all right. We're among family. We're good.
Yeah, this is what happens when you do live TV, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now we talked about some things that is really just giving us a lot of courage, like encouragement. What role would you say your faith has played in this journey? Since we got some more time now, I can venture off into some waters with you, and we can talk about that.
Dude, I remember in college, I started off at West Virginia University before I finished at Cincinnati. And I remember I had to leave West Virginia because of lack of money. I remember driving all the way there, trying to make things happen. And I think a week into school, said, you can't stay, unless you got a bunch of money, you got to leave. And I remember feeling really just so bad, man. And I remember getting the USA Today and reading, there was an article, Keith Byers, played for Ohio State.
Yeah, man.
And I remember his sophomore year, I believe he broke his foot.
Yes.
And he was really talking about, really gave his testimony about breaking his foot, and he went to Romans 8:28, and just how, just what the purpose that God meant for him, for his life. And, and that really stuck with me, man. It just gave me like just a really good feeling. And so, and I leave, come back home to Cincinnati, and things turned out great. I enrolled at Cincinnati, ended up being a sports editor at the student paper, and I mean, it just what Keith Byers professed happened for me also.
Yeah.
Something I thought was bad, leaving, it turned out to be good.
Yeah.
So for me in life, and whenever things happen, I mean, even this pandemic, I talk to the Lord, and first of all, I see the good in it. I mean, this pandemic has given me a lot of time with my family.
Yes.
It has, I've been able to look at other projects. Although I got laid off from the plain dealer, but this is what I prayed to God for me to do film full time. So I didn't ask him how it would happen, but it happened. So things, put it like this, I just can't imagine me or anyone else going through life without Christ. I would not want to be that person. No. Because, I've always said he always comes through.
Yes.
And as we say, it always in his time.
Yes.
And I'm fine with it, but because I just know it's coming.
Yes.
And I just know it's coming. That's the one thing I can count on, that answering my prayer is coming.
And that's what my life is about. That's why you're on my show, because I want to encourage people to know that if you have faith, it's going to work out. It may not look like it. When I first moved here, our family moved here. A job actually brought us here for me. And my wife, she teaches at a high school over by the coast. I won't say the name of the high school because she'll be mad at me, so I won't even talk about the school.
Okay.
But she's a teacher over there. But the job that brought us out here for me, within 6 months, they laid me off. So I know what you're talking about. And they came to me and was like, hey, we have to restructure. I'm like, whoa, wait, you brought me out here. And it's like, well, some things we had planned are not going the way we thought when we told you we brought you out here. And I was like, I went through and just said, you know what? I've spent 20 years working in corporate America. I was like, God, I'm gonna trust you. I know what I love to do. I'm in this city that I'm built for. I was like, I talked to my wife, made sure she was cool. I didn't make one of those road decisions. I made sure she was cool with it. And I was like, what you think? And she was like, let's go for it. She was like, let's do it. It's like we raised our kids. It's our time. And ever since then, I've seen so many doors open. I'm talking, Branson, I had one credit on my IMDb as an actor before moving out here. I have 30 as a principal or supporting lead. Wow. I've seen, I'm on an Amazon TV show. I've just seen all this stuff just happen. I'm like, God, this is what it means to have faith. I know a lot of people thought I was crazy. Of course. At this point in my life, they're like, people thought I actually just like quit a job and moved out here. I was like, no, I had a job. But they decided they wanted to flip the script. I'm tired. So I'm glad that happened to you. I'm celebrating that it happened to it, because now we're going to see so many more projects that have been in you that you didn't have time to focus on. And I believe that even I'm going to be in a position one day to help finance those projects also with you, because I love what you do. And it's always been my desire that as I get blessed, I bless those who I roll with. I really do. I was like, what's the saying? If I'm eating, we all eat.
We all eat. Yes.
You know, that's great. That's what this shirt, faith over fear. Yes. Faith over fear. I'm for real about that. So.
Oh man, I got to get one of those shirts.
Yeah, it's by Clean Apparel. Clean Apparel.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna order one today.
Yeah, I showed them some love, so you know they asked me to wear the shirt. So.
Yes, but I love that.
But I actually love it when I got it. I was like, man, that's me. That's been my life. Faith over fear. So what you just shared about your journey, that's what I want people to see. To have faith. It's like for whatever you want to do. You want to run a business. You want to go to medical school. Whatever you want to do, have faith for it. Don't be afraid. Life's too short for that. Yeah. So with that in mind, are there any like future projects that you can share that you're thinking about? You know, I know, certain things you want to keep close to the chest. But is there anything that you would like to maybe share about that you're working on?
Yeah, there's two that I can share. Okay. One, for years, I've been trying to do this project on, I don't know if for the listeners out there, Cincinnati Moeller High School was they were a football power.
Yes.
Back in the day, and they had a rivalry with a school called Princeton, Cincinnati Princeton, and those two schools had this. They were like two of the best teams in the country.
Yeah. And
they had this rivalry. You know, whoever won between those two would generally go to the state finals, if not win it.
Yeah.
So I, for years, I've been trying to, get this project off, and there's some possibilities of getting it financed. So continue to pray for that.
Yeah.
And back in December, I signed a deal with Sony and Unanimous Media.
Wow.
That's Steph Curry's production company. I sold them a film idea. That's a comedy.
Yes.
And I'll be a producer on that project. And
congrats.
Thank you, man. That darn COVID, has slowed things down. So
yeah.
That's getting finished up as far as the writer, getting that finished, and then hopefully 2021 can start filming.
Yeah.
And then when they start auditions, and I have a list for them. For people, I'd like to get a opportunity to audition. Hint, hint. So,
I'm ready, man. I don't turn down. I'm there.
Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I said, they'll probably film it in Atlanta.
That's cool.
And I said, I want as many people from Ohio to be able to audition for this film as possible. And I got a whole list, of people. You're on it, and it's just a whole list of people I'd like for them. Hopefully they can get opportunity. And I think it's not generally a faith-based movie. It's a comedy.
Yeah.
And but faith is definitely within the film.
Yes. And I want to encourage you. Everything we do is faith-based. So we don't have to put that label on it.
There you go.
I tell my wife, I was like, stuff that I produce, because I'm going to establish my own production company as well, it's not going to be labeled the faith-based film company. Like everything I do is pointing up.
There you go.
And
There you go.
Devon Franklin, he encourages us a lot with that, because prior to COVID, he would do a Bible study the last Tuesday of every month with a lot of people in the industry. And I was there. I would go there. Like, he done had Kurt Franklin, a bunch of people come, and they be sharing, But Devon Franklin's the main one who's teaching. And it's just empowering us to really walk in the gifts that we have. And his story is so powerful. I've had the chance to have a few conversations with him. But he's the same thing. It's like everything, everything doesn't have to be labeled that, because everything you do is faith-based. So that's, I was just like, I love it, man. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I want to encourage you, especially if you go to Atlanta to produce it and you use somebody's studio there. I ain't gonna say the person's name, but the way he producing stuff, people living on the grounds.
Right. Yeah. It's so big enough. I saw something about build a airport landing or something.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Fly right into the studio, quarantine right there, and work right there, and leave.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is. That's great. That's great.
A lot of studios out here are probably so jealous of that, because
I'm sure
he's able to keep producing.
Yes. Yes, that's to keep it going.
Now, do you have any desires to do anything in the Cleveland area? Like, maybe, because a lot of people have asked me, have I thought about like establishing some type of production thing where we're doing stuff in Cleveland? I was like, I would love to help Cleveland talent. I said, I got to get to a certain level,
right?
To be able to bring that back to Ohio. But what are your thoughts on that?
Man, I think it would be great. I mean, when you look at Severance, with the mall being away, that could be such a great place for a studio.
Yeah.
And I would say, I'm in South Euclid, and I would say Richmond Mall, but I think that's going to be under some housing development or some townhouse. I think some condos. It's going to be a condo development.
So they tear it down?
They're going to tear down portions of it, but that's already sold, a Canadian company. It's in the works. That's going to happen.
Wow.
But Severance, I think, would be a great place for could have a nice studio over there and just bring people in to film things and hire Cleveland actors. I mean, that would be that'd be wonderful. I mean,
it's the dream.
As I'm speaking about it, that would be a wonderful goal.
Yeah,
wonderful goal to have.
It's the dream, though, to establish something in your town, like not your hometown, but that's where you're based at. That's where you're rooted at now, to empower the people who are gifted there. And it's a great industry. There's great talent there. It's a great market, cost effective, all these things to really put on productions, and it even empower like future filmmakers and actors, like having a little school there where they can actually. I'm envisioning all this stuff, because that's one of my I wish something like that existed when I was young. I would have ran through that. I was afraid when I went to college. I was afraid to tell my parents I'm first generation college. To come home and say, Mom, Dad, I'm a film theater major. They're like, what? What you gonna do with that?
Right.
You first generation. You the first person in the family going there. You talking about this stuff? So, but I still dabbled in it. I wrote my first comedic short. I wrote it in high school and had it done. So I knew what I wanted to do, but I was afraid because I didn't have all that circle pushing me. And that's what a lot of people need. They just need a circle pushing them. Like, just like I said, your friend was like, yo, you need to do this. I see it. That's all you need, somebody speaking to you.
Yeah, that's it.
You never know what we might be collabing on in the future. You never know. Putting something like
that's
that
true.
In Cleveland, oh man. You got me.
That would be. You're thinking about it now, huh?
Yeah, I done turned off the road. I was like, let me turn back. I started envisioning what that would look like, because I don't know if you know somebody named Jerry Prim. He's very involved with politics back there in Cleveland. He helps. Yeah.
Jerry Prim.
Yeah,
Jerry Prim. Yes, I know Jerry. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I first met Jerry. I used to be a coach in the Gator League a long time ago. That's how I met Jerry Prim, and he and I became very good friends. But he's one of the friends who asked me. They was like, I said I'll probably never move back because I like warm weather. I don't like being cold.
Yes.
I'm good. I'm good on snow. Yeah. But I said, as far as doing something to empower the community, I would love to do that. I just told him I need to get my platform to a certain level because you need to be able to pull other people in, and the higher the platform, the more people want to come and rally around what you're doing. So
exactly.
That's what I said. Let me build what I'm building right now, and that's something I can look at doing later. Yeah, I will. So you talk about severance. Woo.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be just really awesome. Man, my wife always getting packages, man. Looking at the weather, man, they just lit the UPS and everybody. But anyway, all right, go ahead.
That's cool. Hey, man, I feel you, man. They real busy right now, especially because nobody want to go to the stores really, so everybody's ordering stuff. So,
yes.
But man, I know I've kept you for about 45, 50 minutes.
Hey man, I'm fine.
I know you're enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it. And we got probably about 10 minutes or so before they start putting the clock on.
Okay.
So I've always liked to give my guests the opportunity to really speak some things into the people. And like I just shut up for a minute or two. Like if you just really have some words of wisdom, especially during this COVID right now, where people can be productive, be positive, and not get caught up, you and I both know what's happening with the racial tension and everything. It's if we focus on that, yes, you and I both know it's real. We have to deal with that. But you can't let that be the thing that distracts you from your goal. Because the only way you can really make a difference is you got to hit your goal first, then you can help other people. So if you can just share some stuff and encourage some people, man, I appreciate it.
Oh man. Well, I would say this, Tuesday is National Voter Registration Day, and we're doing a special broadcast on WOVU here in Cleveland and WOVU FM, and we're going to be on the air just encouraging people to not only to register to vote if they haven't by Tuesday, but to vote in November. And
I think he just froze for a second, but he shall be right back. So just chill with me for a second, and I think he'll be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying this discussion we're having, though, because it is important to make sure that we find ways to reach back to the communities that raised us and brought us up and got us to where we're at. Bam. Yep, you back.
There we go.
I know how to talk. I can talk a lot, so I just kept talking until you came back.
Okay. Oh, so, well, I think I left off talking about voting.
Yes.
And, the importance of voting, not only for the presidential election, but for voting in your community, for your city, for your state.
Yes.
And not voting has consequences. And you may not agree, or as I quite often tell people, if you're not registered to vote, then you can't complain about certain things that happen. You can't become a member of the jury unless you're registered to vote. So if we have an argument of being judged by our peers, how can we do that unless you're registered to vote so you can be on a jury?
Yeah.
So there's just, to me, too many benefits of being a part of the political process.
Yes.
By voting, and we, of course, we know finances are important too, but in everything you do, from the air we breathe to the food we eat, it has something to do with politics, and there's a political base to it all.
Yeah.
So I tell people, for the listeners out there, to educate yourself. Don't believe everything you see on social media. Do your research. I mean, you can research everything you see and hear, and stay focused. Stay focused on your goals,
Yes.
and just continue to take advantage of this time that we're in,
Yeah.
of somewhat of a quarantine. Pay attention to your health. Pay attention to your family. And man, I've been riding my bike 10 miles a day since all this been going on. So, and I wouldn't have done this. I would have been in the rat race and trying to find the next story and doing things like that, and not concerned about my health.
Yeah.
So just take advantage of it. One of my favorite movies, what is that? The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
And when he was in jail during that time, I mean, he could have just sat there and did nothing, but he trained.
Yeah.
He used that time to better himself. I mean, Malcolm X, when he was in prison, he bettered himself.
Yes.
He got prepared for when he did get out. So when all of this leaves us, we get back to some normalcy. You can't try to get ready. You got to be ready.
Yes.
When the doors open, you got to be ready.
Yes.
So this is the time to be in prayer. Get closer to God. There's no excuses.
No.
And just to better yourself in every facet of the way, and then when that door opens, just be ready.
Man, I love that wisdom about voting, using our voice, examining your faith, where you're at with that, your relationship with God, and taking care of your health. These are things that get neglected so much when we're out there running and ripping. And then next thing you know, you're wondering why you're dealing with all these mental stuff and other stuff because you haven't had a chance to build that up. And this has been prime time for me, man. I was like, man, I miss being on set on a regular basis, but I also feel like, man, I haven't had this time, I think, since I was a kid and had like a summer break. I remember the scariest feeling graduating from college was, I was like, I'll never have another summer break. That was the scariest thing to me. I wasn't even thinking about getting ready to start working. I was like, I never have 12 weeks off again the rest of my life. That's scary, man.
Oh man,
because that was a prime time to be free.
Yes.
And we got that time right now. It's like we have to take advantage of it, because you're right. It is not going to come back like this. Not in our lifetime. This is like once every 100 years.
Right.
So if I'm around 100 years from now, I don't want to see what I look like.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm just like, man. So I love that. That's why I want to encourage people. I want to thank my very special guest, my brother Branson Wright, and Branson Wright Films Productions, for being on the show. Branson, can you tell people how you want people to stay connected and support your projects, and however you want people to follow you? Go ahead and share with them.
Oh, they can follow me at bransonwrightfilms.com. And I'm on Twitter under Branson Wright. I think I'm under Twitter under Branson Wright Films.
Yes.
So just hit me up. Let's talk films, talk sports.
Yes.
Whatever we need to do. Let's stay connected.
Well, man, I actually I'm going to send you a text after I finish uploading this to IG with a couple other possible documentaries you want to look at. I didn't want to mention it. I had to suggest it on the low because I don't know. It might get shot down, so I have to send it to you on the side.
But if I get shot down, somebody might have a bunch of money and love the idea, and we look up and it's like, wow.
Yeah, so I'll share it on the side. You never know, it might be something good to look at. But I look forward to us partnering in the future together and working together. I'm excited about what you're doing. I'm glad that you got laid off. I really am. Your wife may not be, but I'm glad because I know what's getting ready to happen now. I can't wait to see all this stuff blow up, and who knows what our future holds. I want to thank everybody for watching, for listening to RDC Speak Life Sessions. Remember to rate this podcast, to like it on Apple, Spotify, Google, Castbox. Thank you to all the 9 countries who are listening. We're looking forward to more countries. Egypt, you were in here today. Netherlands, we're inviting you to go ahead and subscribe so you can be a part of the movement. As I always close, remember that you are the producer of your own life. God's the director, but you the producer. So he's given us a job and a task to do. Remember 3 things: to love God, love yourself, and love people, and life will be beautiful. We are out.